Commander Thalvek stood on the bridge of his warship, looking down at the blue planet below. Earth. That was what the creatures called their world. He had conquered 17 star systems in his long career. This would be the 18th. It would be easy. Sir, the scans are complete, his second officer reported. The humans have basic spacecraft. Their weapons use chemical explosives and metal projectiles. They are divided into multiple nations that fight each other. Thalvek nodded. This was even better than he expected. A species that could not unite was a species that could not win. His people, the Velkari, had ruled the stars for 3,000 years. They had plasma weapons, energy shields, and ships that could cross galaxies. These humans were children playing with toys. How many soldiers do they have? Thalvek asked. Approximately 400 million across their planet, sir. But their equipment is primitive. Our armor can withstand their strongest weapons. Our plasma rifles can cut through their vehicles like paper. Thalvek allowed himself a rare smile. The Velkari High Command had given him a simple mission. Show force. Demand surrender. If they refuse, destroy their military and take control. It would take a few weeks at most. Begin the demonstration, he ordered. His fleet moved into position. Velkari warships, each 1 kilometer long, descended into Earth's orbit. They targeted human satellites and space stations. Bright beams of energy shot down from the ships. In seconds, humanity's eyes in the sky were gone. Burning metal rained down into the atmosphere. Thalvek broadcast his message to every communication device on the planet. His words were translated by the ship's computer into the major human languages. People of Earth, I am Commander Thalvek of the Velkari Empire. Your world is now under our control. You have 72 hours to surrender all military forces. Resistance will be met with destruction. You cannot win. Accept our terms and your people will be spared. He waited for the response. Usually primitive species panicked. Their leaders would argue. Some would want to surrender immediately. Others would make brave speeches about fighting. Then reality would set in. They would see the power gap and give up. But something strange happened. The humans went quiet. Too quiet. Their military communications stopped. Their leaders did not respond to his message. Thalvek frowned. This was unusual. Sir, we are detecting movement on the ground, his officer reported. Military vehicles are relocating. They are spreading out and hiding. Let them hide, Thalvek said. When they see what happens next, they will understand. 72 hours passed. No surrender came. Thalvek gave the order to begin orbital bombardment. His ships targeted major military bases in different countries. Energy beams struck the ground, turning entire installations into molten craters. The display of power was magnificent. Surely now they would surrender. Still the humans said nothing. Far below on the surface of Korea, Private Dae-won crouched in a bunker with his unit. He was 23 years old and had been a soldier for only 2 years. He had never seen real combat before. None of them had. But they had all seen the alien ships in the sky. They had all heard the broadcast. And they had all watched as the aliens destroyed bases in other parts of the world. They think we will just give up, said Captain Haijin, their commander. She was a small woman with hard eyes. She had trained in special forces for 10 years. They think we are afraid, aren't we? Asked another soldier. His voice shook. Look at their ships. Look at what they can do. How do we fight that? Captain Haijin looked at each soldier in the bunker. We fight like humans have always fought. When someone stronger tries to take our home, we make them pay for every meter of ground. We make them bleed. We make them wish they never came here. Dae-won felt something stir in his chest. Fear, yes. He was terrified. But there was something else too. Anger. These aliens had come to his world without asking. They had killed people. They thought Earth belonged to them now. What are our orders? Dae-won asked. We wait, Haijin said. They will send ground forces. They will think they can just walk in and take over. That is when we show them what a mistake they made. In another part of Korea, Dr. Bora worked in an underground laboratory. She was a weapons scientist. For the past 3 days, she had not slept. Her team had recovered pieces of alien technology from the destroyed satellites. They were studying it, trying to understand how it worked. The energy cells are incredibly dense, one of her assistants reported. The power output is 1,000 times more efficient than our best batteries. Dr. Bora examined the alien device under a microscope. Can we use it? Maybe. But we would need to reverse engineer the entire system. That could take months or years. We do not have months, Dr. Bora said. Find a way to make it work with our existing weapons. I do not care if it is crude. I just need something that can hurt them. Back in orbit, Thalvik grew impatient. The humans had not surrendered. They had not even tried to negotiate. It was time to send ground forces. His warriors would land, eliminate any resistance, and establish control. Then this would be over. Prepare the landing teams, he ordered. Send them to the major cities. Show overwhelming force. If the humans see our warriors up close, they will understand how outmatched they are. The first Velkari dropships descended through Earth's atmosphere. They were heading to multiple cities across the planet. In Korea, 3 dropships approached the outskirts of Seoul. The massive vehicles landed in an open field. Armored ramps lowered. Velkari warriors emerged. They were 7 feet tall, covered in advanced armor that shimmered with energy shields. They carried plasma rifles that glowed with deadly power. Each warrior was worth 10 human soldiers, or so the Velkari believed. The warriors formed up and began marching toward the city. They expected chaos. They expected panicking civilians and poorly armed soldiers. They expected an easy victory. Instead, they found empty streets, silent buildings, no movement. It was as if the entire city had vanished. The Velkari commander activated his communication device. This is Landing Team 7. The city appears abandoned. Proceeding to investigate, they moved deeper into the city. The silence was unnerving. Where were the humans? Why were they not here? Then from a building window 300 meters away there was a flash. One Velkari warrior stumbled. His shield flickered. He looked down at his armor. There was a hole in it. Something had pierced his shield. That was impossible. Contact, the commander shouted. We are under... He never finished the sentence. Something exploded beneath their formation. The ground erupted. 3 Velkari warriors were thrown into the air. When they landed, they did not move. More shots came from multiple directions. The Velkari scattered, trying to find cover. They returned fire with their plasma rifles, but they could not see the enemy. The humans were hidden. They were using the city itself as a weapon. In the building, Corporal Minna lowered her rifle. She had just made the first kill. The bullet had been armor-piercing, designed to destroy vehicles. It had barely penetrated the alien's shield, but barely was enough. She moved to a different position before the aliens could target her location. Captain Hyejin watched from another building. Her team had planted explosives in the street days ago. They had studied the aliens' tactics from satellite footage before the satellites were destroyed. They knew the aliens would march in formation. They knew exactly where to hit them. Teams 2 and 3 engage from the south. She ordered quietly into her radio. Team 4, fall back to position Beta. We make them chase us into the trap. The Velkari had superior technology, but the humans had something else. They had home advantage. They knew every street, every building, every place to hide, and they were not afraid to die. They were only afraid of losing their world. On his ship, Thalvik watched the battle through his warriors' helmet cameras. This was not going as planned. His warriors were pinned down. They were taking casualties. Real casualties. The humans were not running. They were fighting. For the first time in many years, Thalvik felt something cold in his chest. It was not worry, not yet, but it was close. He pushed the feeling away. This was just the first day. His warriors would adapt. They would crush this resistance. They had to. But deep down, in a place he did not want to look, Thalvik wondered if he had made a terrible mistake. 3 weeks had passed since the Velkari invasion began. Commander Thalvik stood in his command center, staring at the tactical display. Red markers showed Velkari positions across Earth. Blue markers showed confirmed human resistance. There was far too much blue. Report, he demanded. His intelligence officer approached. The officer's movements were stiff, nervous. Sir, we control 43% of strategic locations. However, we have sustained 3,000 casualties. We have lost 12 dropships and 17 armored vehicles. 3,000 casualties. In 3 weeks. Against a primitive species? This was impossible. The conquest of the Draxian system had cost only 500 casualties, and the Draxians had energy weapons. What is causing these losses? Thalvik asked, though he already knew the answer. The humans refuse to fight conventionally, sir. They ambush our patrols. They plant explosive traps. They attack supply lines. When we pursue them, they disappear. When we establish a base, they attack it at night. They are everywhere and nowhere. Talavek's jaw tightened. Increase patrols. Deploy more warriors. We will overwhelm them with numbers. But even as he gave the order, he felt that cold sensation again. It was growing stronger. In the mountains of Korea, Captain Hyejin led her Special Forces team through the forest. They had been hunting Valkyrie patrols for 2 weeks. Her team had killed 47 enemy soldiers. They had lost only 3 of their own. Behind her, Daewon moved quietly through the trees. He was not a private anymore. After the first week, so many soldiers had died that anyone who survived got promoted. He was a corporal now. He had killed 6 aliens with his own hands. He did not feel proud. He just felt tired. Target ahead, whispered Lieutenant Jae-sung, their scout. 4 Valkyrie moving east. Standard patrol pattern. Hee-jin studied the terrain. There was a narrow valley ahead. Perfect for an ambush. Daewon, take position on the left ridge. Jae-sung, right ridge. When they enter the valley, we hit them from both sides. Aim for the neck joints in their armor. That is where they are weakest. They moved into position. The Valkyrie patrol entered the valley. They were confident, walking openly. They had plasma rifles ready, but they did not expect an attack. They should have. Hee-jin raised her hand. 3 fingers. 2. 1. Gunfire erupted from both sides. The Valkyrie shields flared as bullets struck them. But Hyejin's team had learned. They did not fire single shots. They fired in concentrated bursts, all aiming at the same spot. The shields could stop 1 or 2 bullets. They could not stop 20 hitting the same place. The first Valkyrie fell, then the second. The remaining 2 tried to return fire, but they could not see their attackers in the forest. The third fell. The fourth tried to run. Daewon's bullet caught him in the back of the neck. The alien's armor had a gap there. The creature collapsed. Move out, Hee-jin ordered. They will send reinforcements. We need to be gone in 3 minutes. They disappeared into the forest like ghosts. By the time Valkyrie reinforcements arrived, there was nothing but 4 dead warriors and empty trees. In the Valkyrie command ship, Talvek reviewed the patrol's final transmission. He watched the recording from their helmet cameras. He saw the ambush. He saw his trained warriors, veterans of multiple campaigns, cut down in seconds. He saw them die afraid. This Captain Hee-jin, Talvek said. How many of our soldiers has she killed? According to intelligence, her team is responsible for at least 40 kills, possibly more. The humans are making her famous. They share stories about her. They call her a hero. Talvek understood propaganda, but this was different. The humans were not just making up stories to boost morale. This female was actually killing his warriors. A small human, probably half the size of a Valkyrie warrior, was hunting them like prey. Find her, Talvek ordered. Send a full company. I want her eliminated. But finding Hyejin was like finding smoke. By the time his forces reached any location where she had been, she was already somewhere else. Meanwhile, Dr. Bora achieved her first breakthrough. In her underground laboratory, she stood over a workbench covered with alien technology and human weapons. It works, she said, not quite believing it herself. Her assistant nodded excitedly. We took the power cell from the Valkyrie plasma rifle and connected it to our explosive compound. The energy discharge increases the blast radius by 300%. Dr. Bora picked up the device. It was crude. It looked like someone had taped alien technology to a human grenade. But crude did not matter. What mattered was that it worked. Can we make more? She asked. If we can capture more power cells, yes. Each one can make 10 of these devices. Then we need more cells. Dr. Bora contacted military command. I need teams to target Valkyrie supply depots. We need their power cells. Every cell we capture means more dead aliens. Within days, human forces across the planet received the new weapons. They were not as powerful as Valkyrie plasma rifles, but they were powerful enough. And there was something satisfying about using the aliens' own technology against them. Daewon held one of the new grenades in his hand. It was heavier than a normal grenade. It hummed slightly, the alien power cell vibrating inside. Feels angry, Jae-sung said, looking at his own grenade. Like it wants to explode. Good, Hee-jin said. Tonight we attack the Valkyrie supply depot outside the city. These new weapons should make it interesting. The attack happened at midnight. Hee-jin's team moved through the darkness like shadows. The Valkyrie had guards, but guards needed to sleep. Guards got tired. Guards made mistakes. Day 1 crawled to within 30 meters of the depot. He could see Velkari warriors walking the perimeter. He pulled the pin on Dr. Bora's grenade and threw it. The explosion was beautiful and terrible. The alien power cell overloaded, creating a blast that consumed 3 Velkari warriors and tore a hole in the depot wall. Alarms screamed. Warriors poured out of buildings, but Hye-jin's team was already attacking from multiple directions. More of the enhanced grenades flew through the air. Each explosion lit up the night. The Velkari tried to organize a defense, but they were confused. They could not see the humans in the darkness. Fall back, Hye-jin ordered after 5 minutes. Mission complete. They vanished into the night. Behind them, the depot burned. Inside were weapons, armor, and supplies that the Velkari would never use. On his command ship, Thalvek received the report. Another depot destroyed. More casualties. More failures. The cold feeling in his chest was not cold anymore. It was ice. It was spreading. Sir, his second officer said quietly, the troops are requesting reinforcements. Morale is declining. They are asking when we will receive support from the main fleet. Thalvek wanted to say the main fleet was coming. He wanted to say victory was certain, but he could not lie to himself anymore. Tell them to hold positions, he said. Tell them we will adapt. But how did you adapt to an enemy that refused to follow any rules? The Velkari way of war was based on superior technology and overwhelming force. Show up with bigger ships and better weapons, and the enemy surrendered. That was how it had always worked. Except the humans did not care about bigger ships. They did not care about better weapons. They cared about their home, and they would use anything, try anything, sacrifice anything to protect it. That night, Thalvek could not sleep. He kept thinking about the footage from the depot attack. The humans had used Velkari technology against them. They had learned. They had adapted. In 3 weeks, they had gone from using primitive bullets to creating hybrid weapons. What would they create in 3 months? What about 6 months? For the first time in his life, Thalvek understood what his enemies had felt when his fleets arrived at their worlds. He understood the cold certainty of facing something stronger, something relentless. He understood fear. He tried to push the feeling away. He was Velkari. He was a commander. He did not feel fear, but the ice in his chest said otherwise. And every day it grew colder. In her bunker, Hye-jin cleaned her rifle. Day 1 sat nearby doing the same. They did not talk much anymore. There was not much to say. They killed aliens. They survived another day. They did it again tomorrow. Do you think we can win? Day 1 asked quietly. Hye-jin looked at him. Her eyes were hard but not unkind. I think we can make them wish they never came here. I think we can make them bleed for every meter. I think we can show them that Earth belongs to humans. Is that enough? It has to be, because we will never stop fighting, even if it takes years, even if it costs everything. They need to learn that humans do not surrender. Day 1 nodded. He understood. This was not about winning quickly. This was about making the price of conquest so high that the aliens would leave. This was about surviving long enough to make them afraid. They were doing a good job. In orbit, Commander Thalvek stared at Earth and felt the ice spread through his veins. 3 months into the invasion, something changed across Earth. The nations that had fought each other for centuries were now fighting together. American soldiers shared tactics with Russian forces. Chinese intelligence worked with European analysts. Korean special forces trained African guerrilla fighters. The aliens had done what no human leader ever could. They had united Earth. Commander Thalvek saw this happening in his reports. Human communications were no longer divided by nation. They shared everything: technology, strategy, intelligence. They acted like one organism instead of hundreds of separate pieces. This is problematic, his intelligence officer reported. The human female, Captain Hye-jin, has written a tactics manual. It is being distributed globally. Every human resistance cell is now using her methods. Thalvek read the translated document. It was simple but effective. Use the terrain. Attack at night. Never fight fairly. Hit supply lines. Make them afraid of the dark. Disappear before they can respond. These are not tactics, Thalvek said. These are survival strategies of prey animals. Yet they work, sir. Our casualties have reached 18,000. We control only 30% of strategic objectives. The timeline for conquest has been extended indefinitely. 18,000. The number hit Thalvek like a physical blow. In the conquest of the Markan colonies, which took 2 years, They had lost only 3,000 warriors. These humans had killed 6 times that number in 3 months. What does High Command say? Thalvek asked. The intelligence officer hesitated. They are concerned. They are sending additional support, but they want to know when we will achieve victory. Thalvek did not have an answer. On Earth, Lieutenant Jae-sung sat in the cockpit of a modified aircraft. Before the invasion, he had been a commercial pilot. Now he flew combat missions in a plane that should not be able to fight. But Dr. Bora's team had installed Velkari power cells into its weapon systems. The old aircraft now had energy weapons. Target acquired, his co-pilot said. Velkari transport ship heading north. Jae-sung pushed the throttle forward. The aircraft was slow compared to Velkari ships, but it was fast enough. And the aliens did not expect humans to attack from the air anymore. They had destroyed all the advanced fighters in the first week. They had not counted on humans using civilian aircraft as weapons. Firing, Jae-sung said. He pressed the trigger. Blue energy bolts shot from his aircraft's modified guns. They struck the Velkari transport. The alien ship's shields flared but held. Again, Jae-sung ordered. He fired continuously. The transport tried to evade, but it was loaded with supplies. It was too slow. The shields failed. The energy bolts tore into the hull. The transport began to fall. Target destroyed, his co-pilot reported. That is your 6th kill. Jae-sung did not celebrate. He turned the aircraft and headed back to base before Velkari fighters could respond. Every mission was about speed. Get in, strike, get out. Survive to fight tomorrow. In the mountains, Corporal Minna looked through her rifle scope. She was lying on a ridge hidden by rocks and grass. Below, a Velkari patrol moved through the valley. They were being careful now. They spread out. They watched the shadows. They had learned to fear ambush, but they had not learned enough. Minna controlled her breathing. She had been lying here for 6 hours waiting for this patrol. Her body ached. Her muscles screamed. She ignored it all. She had one job. Kill the officer. The one with the different colored armor. The one giving orders. She found him in her scope. 800 meters. Wind from the east. Slight upward angle. She made the calculations automatically. She had made this shot 96 times before. This would be 97. She pulled the trigger. The bullet traveled for 2 seconds. It struck the Velkari officer in the gap between his helmet and chest armor. The alien fell. The patrol scattered looking for the shooter. But Minna was already moving. She crawled backward off the ridge. By the time they figured out where the shot came from, she would be a kilometer away. 97 confirmed kills. The other soldiers called her Ghost Bullet. The aliens called her something else. They called her Death from Nowhere. In the Velkari command ship, Thalvek studied the reports of this sniper. 97 officers dead, each one killed from extreme range. The warrior never missed, never. Have we located this human? Thalvek asked. No, sir. We have tried multiple times. The warrior moves after every shot. We cannot predict the next location. Thalvek felt the ice in his chest spread. One human, one weapon, 97 dead officers. And they could not stop it. What about the other human, the pilot? The one destroying our transport ships? Also unlocated, sir. He uses different aircraft. He operates from hidden bases. By the time we respond to his attacks, he is gone. It was the same story everywhere. The humans were like water. You could not hold water in your hands. It slipped through your fingers. You could not catch it. You could not stop it. Dr. Bora stood in her laboratory looking at her latest creation. It was a weapon system that combined human rocket technology with Velkari power cells and targeting systems. It was large. It was crude. It was ugly. It was perfect. The test is ready, her assistant said. They took the weapon to a firing range. Dr. Bora aimed it at a captured Velkari armored vehicle 5 kilometers away. She pressed the trigger. The weapon fired with a sound like thunder. The rocket streaked across the sky, guided by alien technology. It struck the vehicle dead center. The explosion consumed the entire vehicle. When the smoke cleared, there was nothing left but a crater. Dr. Bora smiled. Begin production. I want 100 of these delivered to military units within 2 weeks. Her assistant stared at the crater. The aliens will not be happy. Good, Dr. Bora said. I want them terrified. 2 weeks later, Sergeant Daewon held one of Dr. Bora's new weapons. It was heavy. It required 2 soldiers to carry and operate. But when his unit encountered a Velkari armored column, he understood its value. "Fire," Captain Hyojin ordered. Daewon and his partner triggered the weapon. The rocket launched. It flew over the battlefield and struck the lead Velkari vehicle. The explosion was massive. The vehicle simply ceased to exist. The Velkari column stopped. They had not expected this. They returned fire with plasma rifles, but Hyojin's team was already moving to new positions. 3 more rockets fired. 3 more explosions. The Velkari column was destroyed in minutes. The surviving warriors retreated on foot, abandoning their vehicles. "Collect their weapons," Hyojin ordered. "Take their power cells. Leave nothing useful." Daewon moved among the wreckage. He found a Velkari warrior still alive, trapped under a destroyed vehicle. The alien looked at him with large eyes. There was fear in those eyes. "Good," Daewon thought. "Now you know how we felt when you came to our world." He took the warrior's plasma rifle and power cells, then called for a medical team. They would take the alien prisoner. Even in war, there were rules. But those rules only applied after you had proven you could win. In orbit, Thalvek received the report of the destroyed column. Then he received another report. A supply base destroyed. Another report. A patrol ambushed. Another. A transport shot down. The reports kept coming. Every hour. Every day. The humans were everywhere. They struck from the ground. They struck from the air. They used weapons that should not work but did. They adapted faster than any species Thalvek had ever encountered. "Sir," his second officer said quietly, "we have received a message from High Command. They are asking for an explanation of our failures." Failures. The word stung. Thalvek had never failed before. He had conquered worlds. He had crushed rebellions. He was a decorated commander with centuries of experience, but he was failing now. Against humans. Against a species the Velkari had dismissed as primitive. "Tell High Command the truth," Thalvek said. "Tell them we underestimated the enemy. Tell them these humans do not fight like any species we have encountered. They do not care about technology advantage. They do not care about casualties. They care only about protecting their world, and they will use any method to do it." That night, Thalvek did something he had never done before. He accessed the human information network they called the Internet. He wanted to understand his enemy. He needed to know what kind of species could fight like this. He read human history. He learned about wars that lasted decades. He learned about cities that resisted for years. He learned about soldiers who fought until they ran out of ammunition, then fought with knives, then fought with bare hands. He learned about humans who chose death over surrender. Every time, in every war, throughout their history, and he understood. Finally, he understood. Humans were not like other species. Other species fought until fighting became too costly. Then they negotiated. Humans fought until they won or until they all died. There was no middle ground. The ice in Thalvek's chest became a glacier. He was fighting a species that could not be defeated by conventional means. You could not make the cost too high because they did not care about cost. You could not break their will because their will was unbreakable. The only way to beat humans was to kill all of them. Every single one. And even then, Thalvek suspected, the last human would die fighting. He looked at Earth on his display. That beautiful blue planet. It should have been an easy conquest. It should have taken weeks. Instead, it was becoming his nightmare. 6 months had passed since the Velkari arrived. Commander Thalvek no longer recognized the war he was fighting. On the tactical display, red markers for Velkari positions kept disappearing. Blue markers for human resistance kept growing. The map looked like a disease spreading across the planet, except the disease was not affecting the humans. It was consuming his forces. "Casualty report," Thalvek demanded. His intelligence officer approached with visible reluctance. 82,000 dead or missing, sir. We have lost orbital control over 3 continents. Human aircraft are attacking our ships. Yesterday, Lieutenant Jae-sung destroyed one of our destroyers. A destroyer? Thalvek's voice was quiet. Deadly quiet. A human pilot in a primitive aircraft destroyed a capital ship? Yes, sir. He used a coordinated attack with 30 other aircraft, all equipped with modified Velkari weapons. They overwhelmed the destroyer's defenses. It broke apart in orbit. There were no survivors. Thalvek closed his eyes. A destroyer cost billions of resources to build. It carried 3,000 warriors. It was equipped with the most advanced weapons in the Velkari arsenal, and it had been destroyed by modified civilian aircraft. Where is this pilot now? Unknown, sir. Intelligence suggests he operates from multiple hidden bases. He has destroyed 17 of our ships. The humans call him a hero. Of course they did. The humans made heroes of anyone who killed Valkyrie. They told stories. They sang songs. They inspired each other with tales of victory. It was primitive. It was emotional. It was terrifyingly effective. What about ground forces? Thalvik asked. We control less than 20% of strategic locations. Our warriors refuse to patrol at night. They refuse to enter cities without massive support. Morale is critical. Sir, we have had 3 cases of warriors refusing to land on Earth. They claim the planet is cursed. Cursed. Valkyrie did not believe in curses. They believed in logic and technology. But 6 months of fighting humans had broken something in his warriors. They were not cowards. They were experienced soldiers. But they were afraid. Truly afraid, and Thalvik could not blame them. He was afraid too. On Earth, Captain Hyejin stood in a command center with officers from 12 different nations. On the wall was a map of Valkyrie positions. The map showed weakness. The aliens were retreating. Not quickly, not openly, but they were pulling back from exposed positions. They were consolidating. They were defending instead of attacking. They are afraid, said an American general. They should be, Hyejin replied. We have killed over 80,000 of them. We have destroyed hundreds of their vehicles and dozens of their ships. We have proven they can bleed. What is our next move? Asked a Chinese colonel. Hyejin pointed to a large Valkyrie base. This is their main supply depot for the entire eastern region. It is heavily defended. They think it is too strong for us to attack. That is why we will attack it. How? Asked a European major. They have energy shields. They have plasma weapons. They have thousands of soldiers. Hyejin smiled. It was not a kind smile.
We have something better.
We have Major Taeho. Major Taeho stood up. He was a small man with glasses. He looked like a teacher, not a soldier. But appearances meant nothing. Taeho was an intelligence officer, the best Earth had. I have infiltrated their computer systems, Taeho explained. For the past month, I have been studying their security protocols. I know when their shields go down for maintenance. I know their patrol schedules. I know where they keep their ammunition. And I know how to make it all explode. The room was silent. You can blow up their entire base? The American general asked. Not just the base, Taeho said. Every base connected to their network. 17 locations across the planet. All at the same time, Hyejin nodded. We coordinate the attack with ground forces. When their systems fail, we hit them everywhere. We show them that nowhere is safe. We show them that we can strike at their heart. 3 days later, the attack began. Major Taeho activated his virus. Across the planet, Valkyrie computer systems crashed. Shields failed. Communications went dark. Automated defenses shut down, and the humans attacked. At the main depot, Captain Hyejin led the assault personally. Behind her came Sergeant Daewon and 200 other soldiers. They carried Dr. Bora's hybrid weapons. They had alien power cells. They had months of experience fighting these creatures. For Earth! Hyejin shouted. They charged. The Valkyrie, suddenly blind and defenseless, tried to organize a response. But the humans were already inside the perimeter. Explosions ripped through buildings. Plasma fire lit the night. But this time the humans had plasma weapons too. This time it was a fair fight. Except humans did not fight fair. When a Valkyrie warrior tried to surrender, the humans accepted. When a Valkyrie tried to run, they let him go. But when a Valkyrie raised his weapon, the humans showed no mercy. They had learned from the best teacher, survival. Daewon moved through the base like a shadow. He no longer felt fear when he saw the tall aliens. He had killed too many of them. They were not monsters. They were just soldiers. Soldiers who had made the mistake of attacking Earth. He found a group of Valkyrie trapped in a building. They were calling for help on their radios, but their communications were dead. They looked at him through the window. Their eyes were wide. They were afraid. Surrender, Daewon shouted in the alien language. Dr. Bora's team had taught all soldiers basic Valkyrie words. Surrender and you live. The aliens threw down their weapons. They came out with their hands up. Daewon motioned for them to sit. He did not hate them. He just wanted them to leave his planet. By dawn, the base was captured. 17 bases across Earth were captured. The humans had won a major victory. But more importantly, they had proven something. They could defeat the Velkari anywhere, anytime. The aliens were not invincible. In orbit, Thalvik received the reports. 17 bases lost, thousands more casualties, the entire supply network destroyed. His warriors were surrounded, cut off, or captured. The invasion was not just failing, it was collapsing. Sir, his second officer said, High Command is demanding you explain these losses. They are considering replacing you. Thalvik laughed. It was a bitter sound. Replace me with who? Tell High Command to come here themselves. Tell them to fight the humans. Then we will see if they do better. He looked at Earth. That cursed, beautiful planet. 6 months ago, he had been confident. Now he was broken. The ice in his chest was not ice anymore. It was terror. Pure, absolute terror. His warriors felt it too. Reports came of soldiers refusing orders. Some were asking to be transferred off Earth. Others were having mental breakdowns. The humans had done this. Not with superior weapons. Not with better technology. With willpower. With refusal to surrender. With the absolute certainty that they would rather die than lose their home. Sir, we have another problem, the intelligence officer said. The humans are broadcasting something. A video appeared on the display. It showed Corporal Minna, the sniper. She was standing in front of a captured Velkari base. She was holding her rifle. She was smiling. This message is for the Velkari, she said in translated alien language. You came to our planet uninvited. You killed our people. You thought we would surrender. You were wrong. We are humans. We do not surrender. We will fight until you leave or until we all die. But I promise you this, we will not die easily. Every day you stay, more of you will die. Every night we will hunt you. Every moment you will fear us. Go home, Velkari. This is not your planet. It will never be your planet. Earth belongs to humans. The video ended. Thalvik sat in silence. He had heard brave speeches before. He had heard defiant words from dying species. But this was different. This human meant every word. They all did. Sir, what are your orders? The second officer asked. Thalvik wanted to order a full retreat. He wanted to take his remaining warriors and leave this nightmare world. But he could not. High Command would never allow it. The Velkari did not retreat. They did not admit defeat. But they had never fought humans before. Prepare defensive positions, Thalvik said. No more attacks. No more patrols. We hold what we have. We wait for reinforcements. When will reinforcements arrive, sir? I do not know. That night, Sergeant Yuna, a combat medic, worked in a field hospital. She treated both human and Velkari wounded. The aliens looked at her with confusion. Why was she healing them? They were enemies. Because we are not monsters, Yuna told them. You invaded our world. You killed our people. But when you are wounded and helpless, we show mercy. That is what humans do. One Velkari warrior, young and terrified, looked at her. Why do you fight so hard? Why not surrender? We have better weapons, better technology. Yuna smiled sadly. Because this is our home. Would you surrender your home? Would you let strangers take your world? The warrior said nothing. He understood. For the first time, he understood. In his command ship, Thalvik understood too. He finally knew what he was feeling. It was not just fear. It was respect. Terrible, unwanted respect. The humans were magnificent. They were terrifying. They were everything the Velkari had once been, before they became comfortable with their superiority. And he knew with cold certainty that the Velkari could not win this war. Not without destroying Earth completely, and even that might not stop them. Humans would survive. They would rebuild. They would remember. 9 months after the invasion began, Commander Thalvik made a decision that would have been unthinkable before he came to Earth. He requested a meeting with the humans, not to demand surrender, not to threaten, to negotiate retreat. The Velkari High Command responded with silence, then anger, then demands for explanation. But Thalvik ignored them all. He had seen enough. His warriors were broken. His fleet was crippled. His pride was dust. It was time to end this nightmare. The meeting took place in the ruins of Seoul. The city was damaged but not defeated like everything human. Thalvik walked through streets where his warriors had once marched confidently. Now those streets were empty except for watching eyes. The humans were everywhere, hidden, waiting. He entered a building that had once been a government office. Inside, a table had been set up. On one side sat human representatives from different nations. On the other side, a single chair for him. And there, at the head of the table, sat Captain Heejin. She was smaller than Talvek remembered from intelligence reports, but her eyes were hard. She had seen too much death. She had caused too much death. She was a warrior just like him. Except she had won. Commander Talvek, Heejin said. She spoke his language perfectly now. Please sit, Talvek sat. He felt the weight of those human eyes on him. They were not gloating. They were not celebrating. They were just tired. Tired of war. Tired of death. Ready for it to end. You asked for this meeting, Heejin continued. Tell us why you are here. Talvek took a moment to compose his words. I am here to arrange the withdrawal of Velkari forces from Earth. Silence. The humans looked at each other. Then back at him. You mean surrender? Asked an American general. I mean withdrawal, Talvek said. The Velkari do not surrender. But we recognize that continuing this conflict is pointless. You cannot defeat our empire. We cannot conquer your world. It is stalemate, Heejin leaned forward. You think this is stalemate? We have killed over 150,000 of your warriors. We have captured or destroyed 70% of your equipment. We control 90% of the planet. From where I sit, Commander, this is not stalemate. This is our victory. Talvek met her eyes. Perhaps. But if we choose to, we could destroy your entire planet. Our ships could turn Earth into a lifeless rock. No cities, no forests, no oceans, just death. You could try, Heejin said softly. But you will not. Why not? Because you are afraid. The words hung in the air like a physical thing. Talvek wanted to deny it. He wanted to rage about Velkari pride and power. But he could not. Because she was right. You are afraid? Heejin continued. Because you finally understand what we are. You came to our planet thinking we would be easy prey. You thought your technology made you superior. But you learned the truth. Technology is not what makes a species strong. Will is what makes us strong. And human will cannot be broken. She stood and walked around the table. She placed a data pad in front of Talvek. This contains casualty reports from both sides. 2.3 billion humans dead. Our cities burned. Our people killed. You did terrible damage to our world. Talvek looked at the numbers. So many dead. He felt no satisfaction. Only sickness, but look at your losses, Heejin said. 150,000 warriors dead. Thousands more captured. Hundreds of vehicles destroyed. Dozens of ships lost. And you still control nothing. Do you know why? Tell me, Talvek said. Because we learned. We adapted. We took your weapons and made them better. We studied your tactics and found weaknesses. We united as a species for the first time in our history. You thought conquering Earth would be easy. Instead, you taught us how to fight you. And now we will never forget. She returned to her seat. So here is what will happen, Commander. You will withdraw all Velkari forces from Earth. You will provide reparations for the damage you caused. You will give us full access to your technology, and you will guarantee, with your entire empire backing it, that you will never attack Earth again. And if we refuse, Talvek asked, then we continue fighting. We will kill every Velkari on this planet. Then we will take your ships. We will learn how they work. We will build our own fleet, and eventually we will come for your empire. Maybe not this year. Maybe not in 10 years, but humans do not forget. We do not forgive. And we never ever stop. Talvek believed her. That was the terrifying thing. He believed every word. I will need to consult with High Command, he said. You have 48 hours, Heejin replied. After that, we resume attacks. And this time, we will not show mercy to prisoners. The meeting ended. Talvek returned to his ship. He contacted High Command immediately. The conversation was difficult. His superiors did not want to accept defeat. They talked about pride, about the Empire's reputation, about what other species would think. I do not care what other species think, Talvek shouted. I care about the warriors dying on that planet every day. I care about the fact that humans are now capable of building starships. Do you understand what that means? In 10 years, maybe 20, they will reach our territory. And they will not come to trade. They will come for revenge. You are being emotional, his superior said. I am being realistic. I have fought them for 9 months. I have watched them adapt and evolve. I have seen them use our own technology against us. I have seen warriors with severed limbs continue fighting. I have seen cities that refuse to surrender even when we destroyed them. These humans are not like any species we have encountered. If we do not leave now, if we do not make peace, they will become our greatest enemy. An enemy we created. High Command went silent for a long moment. Then, what do you recommend? Accept their terms. All of them. Give them technology. Give them reparations. And pray they choose peace over revenge. 2 days later, Thalvik returned to Seoul. He sat across from Hyejin again. This time he brought a document, a treaty. It contained everything the humans had demanded. High Command has agreed to your terms, Thalvik said. All Velkari forces will withdraw within 30 days. Reparations will be paid over 10 years. Technology transfer will begin immediately, and we guarantee non-aggression for all time. Hyejin read the document carefully. Then she looked at him. Why did you agree? Your empire could have fought longer. You could have destroyed Earth from orbit. Yes, Thalvik said, but you would have survived. Some of you, and you would have hunted us across the stars. I do not want that future. I want peace. Peace. Hyejin said the word like she was tasting it. I am not sure humans remember what peace is anymore. You have turned us into warriors. Every child growing up now knows how to fight. Every adult knows how to kill. You have changed us. I know, Thalvik said, and I am sorry. For what it is worth, I am truly sorry. Hyejin signed the treaty. Other human representatives signed. Then Thalvik signed. It was done. In the following weeks, Velkari forces withdrew from Earth. The captured warriors were returned. The technology was transferred. Dr. Bora and her team began studying it immediately. Within a year, humans would have their first true starship. Within 5 years, they would have a fleet. On the last day, Thalvik stood on his ship and looked down at Earth one final time. He thought about the confident commander who had arrived 9 months ago. That commander was dead. He had died the moment he realized humans could not be conquered. Sir, we are ready to depart, his officer said. One moment. Thalvik accessed the Human Information Network one last time. He wrote a message and sent it to the Velkari Empire's public communication system. He wanted every Velkari to read it. Every species in the galaxy to know. I am Commander Thalvik. I led the invasion of Earth. I am writing this as a warning to all species. The humans are not what they appear. They are not primitive. They are not weak. They are the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because of their technology, not because of their weapons, but because they refuse to accept defeat. They adapt. They learn. They survive. We tried to conquer them. We failed. We failed because we did not understand what we were facing. We faced a species that values freedom more than life, that values home more than safety, that will fight until every last one of them is dead rather than surrender. If you ever encounter humans, treat them with respect. Trade with them. Learn from them. But never ever try to conquer them, because they will make you pay. They will make you afraid. They will teach you the true meaning of fear. I know, they taught me. He sent the message. Then he gave the order. Take us home. The Velkari fleet left Earth's orbit. They jumped to faster than light speed and disappeared. Behind them they left a planet in ruins, but also a planet united. A planet that had learned to defend itself. A planet that would never be the same. Captain Hyejin, now General Hyejin, stood in a new command center. Around her, technicians worked on the first human starship. Dr. Bora was there explaining the hybrid technology. Captain Dae-won was there, now a major training new soldiers. Lieutenant Jae-sung was there, preparing to be the first human to fly beyond the solar system. Corporal Minna was there teaching snipers. Major Taeho was there, building the intelligence network. Sergeant Yuna was there, establishing medical protocols for space travel. What do you think? Dae-won asked Hyejin. Will they come back? No, Hyejin said. They will not come back, but others will come.